Another 2000s core horror gem. Let's do it. When this call opens up with firefighters pulling this little girl out of a fire that is at St. Luke's Hospital. They ask her where her mother is and she just doesn't answer. Then we meet Shelly, who's studying by this beautiful koi pond. Her cat goes over and starts meowing at the koi pond, so Shelly goes to investigate. And when she does, a creepy ass hand comes out of the water and drags her underneath. Also drags the cat under too, RIP. After she's taken under, this weird candy ball thing surfaces. So then we meet Beth and Leanne, who are clearly friends of Shelly's because they're talking about her funeral a few days later. And all of a sudden, Leanne's phone starts to ring with this creepy ass lullaby ringtone. And Leanne's like, that's not my ringtone. She opens up her phone to a voicemail that is dated June 12th at 10:17 p.m., which is like a day or two after the current day. And she just hears her own voice and then screams. The next day, Leanne calls Beth because she starts having these weird hallucinations. Like, she's seeing these creepy ass people. So Beth goes to find Leanne and she arrives just as Leanne is falling off an overpass and is hit by a train and dies. Exactly at 10:17 p.m. and the last words we heard were the same words from the voicemail. And once again, the candy ball thing pops out of her mouth. And then we see Leanne's severed hand dialing a number on her cell phone, which was still in her hand when she died. So Beth goes to Leanne's funeral where she runs into Leanne's ex-boyfriend Brian, and he's acting super weird because he's now seeing shit too. Later on, he finds Beth outside of a coffee shop and shows him a voicemail that was left for him by Leanne after she died. And it was dated for that day a few minutes away. The time of the voicemail strikes and there is a nearby explosion which launches a pipe through Brian and it impales him and he dies. And yep, you guessed it, red fucking candy. The next day, Beth meets this police detective named Jack. He explains that he had a sister that worked with Shelly at St. Luke's Hospital. That sister died 2 days prior, and the last number that she dialed on her cell phone was Shelly's. Now they know this shit's connected. Now Beth's friend Taylor starts to believe that she's going to be the next victim. So the two of them remove the batteries from their cell phones so that they don't work. But that doesn't fucking matter because that night, without the battery in it, Taylor's cell phone rings. And this time it's a video of her own death dated for a later date. So Beth and Jack start to do some more digging and they trace back the calls to the original person, which turns out to be a nurse named Marie Layton who worked at St. Luke's Hospital. And they then find record of Marie's oldest daughter, Ellie, who died from an asthma attack. It also noted scars on Ellie, which then caused CPS to get involved. And the file shows that Jack's sister questioned Marie about these things. And it turns out Ellie and her younger sister Laurel were both committed to St. Luke's Hospital a combination of 9 times, which leads Beth and Jack to believe that Marie had Munchausen's by proxy. Meanwhile, Taylor gets approached by this random dude who turns out to be a TV producer named Ted Summers. He's caught wind of what's going on and is going to now perform an exorcism on her to get rid of the spirits that came through to her from her phone. Beth only finds out about this because she sees a fucking advertisement on TV and then rushes to the studio where it's being filmed. She gets there just in time to witness Taylor being attacked by an unseen force and dying. And then Beth's phone rings, meaning she is the next victim and the voicemail is dated for the next day. So she and Jack go to St. Luke's to try to find Mary and find out what the fuck is going on. Mind you, again, as we know from the beginning, St. Luke's is burned down, so it's just abandoned. When they get inside, they are attacked by Marie's spirit. Struggle ensues and ultimately a crawl space is revealed. And when Beth looks in the crawl space, she finds Marie's body with a cell phone clutched to her. And the corpse wakes up and starts chasing Beth. A chase ensues, but ultimately Marie ends up crying and saying, "Please forgive me," to Beth, which leads Beth to believe that she's actually trying to protect her. So we know Marie's dead and we know her older daughter Ellie is dead. However, her younger daughter Laurel is not, and she's the one that was pulled out of the fire in the beginning of the movie. So Jack goes to visit Laurel in her foster home and he discovers a nanny cam. He looks at the footage and sees what was really going on. Ellie, the older daughter, is caught on camera cutting Laurel with a knife. Marie walked in and found her doing this and discovered that this whole time Ellie is the one that's been abusing Laurel and Marie's been the one that's being blamed for it. So Marie rushes Laurel to the hospital and locks Ellie inside the room. And we see Ellie start wheezing and have an asthma attack. She tries to take her inhaler, but it's out. We see Ellie collapse and die, and as she does, a teddy bear nearby is playing a very familiar lullaby. That's fucking right, it's the ringtone that we've been hearing the whole movie. And Ellie died as she was trying to dial her mother's phone number for help. And Laurel's like, "Yeah, she hurt me, but she always gave me candy," and holds out one of the fucking red candies. So now Jack realizes it was not Marie that caused the curse, it was Ellie that caused the curse. Meaning, the curse is not over. So he rushes to Beth's house to warn her, but once he gets there, they hear a knock on the door. Jack goes to look through the peephole, but when he does, a knife stabs through it and he dies. Ellie's spirit comes in and attacks Beth, but Marie's spirit intervenes and attacks Ellie's spirit. And ultimately, Marie is able to lock Ellie in Jack's phone. And then she disappears and Beth is safe. At least we think she is, because the movie ends with a red candy popping out of Jack's mouth and his phone auto-dialing a number.